This is the Global Connect back with another quick news flash. Now today we gonna be talking about the drama for your mama going on with Nick Cannon. And if y'all are not familiar with what's going on with Nick Cannon, he is in the media and in the news. He's catching hot water right now for his alleged anti-Semitic views. And now I'm kind of disappointed in Nick Cannon. The jury is still out if I'm riding with Nick Cannon or if I'm not riding with him, if I'm still fucking with him, if I'm not fucking with him right now. I'm pissed off at Nick Cannon. So he recently had Professor Griff. He invited Professor Griff onto an episode of Cannon's class. And this video has been out for a couple weeks. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. This episode is old. I mean, it's not old. It's still very fresh. But it's been out for a couple weeks. And so now Nick Cannon is catching all the heat for that. And if you all are not familiar with Professor Griff, I suggest you go do research on who Professor Griff is. I first got turned on to Professor Griff about 10 years ago after I seen a documentary about Illuminati. And after that, it blew my mind. Then I started going to YouTube, doing research every day. And all roads started leading me back to Professor Griff. And so I already know who Professor Griff is. Now, fast forward 10 years, coincidentally, I see the headline, Professor Griff, on an episode of Cannon's class. And so I seen it. I said, I hope Nick Cannon knows what he's doing, inviting Professor Griff onto Cannon's class. And so the episode comes out, and the world goes into an uproar. Now, if you all don't know who Professor Griff is or why Professor Griff is Professor Griff, the same thing that's happening to Nick Cannon happened to Professor Griff. So I just want you all to keep that in mind as you're watching the preceding interview, the preceding episode of Cannon's class. YouTube took the video down, but shout out to Global Connect. Make sure y'all like us. Make sure y'all subscribe to us. Make sure y'all share the video. We were recently taken down ourselves. And so we are trying to bounce back with our subscribers. So make sure y'all subscribe to us. And we do have the video. So with that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and shut up and I'm going to let y'all see a piece of the interview. Now, what I will say is I will be releasing this interview in little bits and pieces. So y'all share the video, send the link. Please don't post it to social media. We don't want it to get taken down. So, yeah, here's the video. Like, subscribe, enjoy.
People that I mentioned couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
How the hell y'all saying what y'all saying, man, and y'all not...
People say that about me to this day, like, yo, how you doing this and still doing that? But so I feel you on that.
I'll be honest with you, I did. I was questioning. I'm like, wait a minute, he up in that space. How you moving?
Like,
That's why I asked you earlier about your health. Are you good?
Yeah. And even now, people like, because what the documentary we're just a part of, and all, people like, man, you got to watch who's preparing your food for you. You got to watch how you move. And it's not even on something we not operating in fear, but the fact that we speaking so much truth that we just got to be more aware.
Exactly.
And I felt like y'all brothers was aware, and that's what I really want to get into, because you talk about the grand design, and we talked about the neutralization of our messages and in our people. That happened to you in a real way, in real time, to where you were the one that everyone came after when you started to speak. And I mean, I know you've spoken about this so many times, but I just want to, give context to some of these younger people out there, to where Public Enemy has such a voice and was waking up so many young people in our community through hip hop when it was still new. And I want you to talk about it, because I don't want to, because you here, but there was
but you have to help me contextualize it.
Yeah. So as I saw it as a young man, that as the Minister of Information, and like I said, it's an honor to have the Minister of Information in Cannon's class, but you had so much information and was so fearless in your message. And through Public Enemy, I felt like you were the one that had the most substance and weight in speaking unapologetically, because Chuck had to do it. He was the MC. He couldn't be so out there in his message, and he had to
make it fly.
Yeah,
okay, I got
he
you.
had to be an entertainer. But you were like, I'm just giving it to you raw and uncut. And if you could contextualize it and kind of, because I don't know the entirety of it all, but from my understanding, there was some information that you put out there specifically about the Jewish community that, again, where you were asked to apologize, or the entire group was asked to distance themselves from you, and that was kind of the first, that, as I saw, the divide of Public Enemy, to where they had to go on and continue to be an entertainment group, and you stuck to your guns and said, I'm Griff, I'm Professor Griff, I will always be the Minister of Information, and I'm not going to apologize, so I'll step away and be myself and allow you guys to go on. Please expound on that and just enlighten us all on how it really happened, because that's how I saw it, and that's what I was told, but I would love to hear firsthand what really happened with, one, what was actually said, why they asked you to apologize. And I mean, I didn't even know there's some subtext and some other characters like the Leo Cohens who were a part of that process,
and the Bill Adlers.
And so please just break it down from how it happened and to where we are today.
Well, let's break it down, and let's break it down in small bits where people can actually get it. Like a lot of people that are coming into consciousness, where they are right now. I sat at the elders of the Dr. Benz and the John Henry Clarks and the Professor Jeffries, Professor Smalls, Shashi McIntyre, and a few other people I could mention. Now, I'm there, physically there, not YouTubing it.
There was no YouTube back then.
You had to physically go there, write the notes, study.
And maybe get a VHS tape or something like
and
that.
if you had 5 of them in your, you was making a whole lot of noise on the train, I'm saying.
Right.
All right, so to my understanding, now I want to thank Khalid El Hakim from the Black History 101 Mobile Museum. He had set up a talk with a rabbi. This is recently. So, and I'm in front of a room full of Jewish people. And I'm asking basic questions, and maybe you can help me out. So let's look up the word anti-Semitic. Who are the Semitic people? And then we're going to get to the Public Enemy thing. So I looked up who is the Semitic people. And there's a list of Semitic people, and anyone can do this right now. You can look up who are the Semitic people, what are the Semitic languages. Has absolutely nothing to do with any white people. Not at all. So in order for me to be anti-Semitic, I'd have to be anti-black man, anti-black woman, anti-black people, anti-Africa, anti-all of the people.
Because the Semitic people
are black people.
So y'all get that clarity. We're going to say that again.
Now,
the Semitic people are black people.
So I cannot be anti-Semitic. Now, what do they really use the phrase anti-Semitic to do? That's the thing.
To divide us.
Exactly. So they put this title on you, anti-Semitic, and then they neutralize you, separated me from the group, say he's a Jew hater, he hate white people, he hate gay people, he hate all white people with freckles and red hair, whatever. And they put that on me, which I never said these things. You understand what I'm saying? I just ran down the history given to me by my elders. And anybody could read this for themselves. So it ain't a Professor Griff hating people thing. Now, closer to what happened with the Public Enemy thing, the brother by the name of James Baum, one of the X1Ws in the group, gave me some information because he was in touch with the research department of the Nation of Islam in Boston. Got the information, and we talk about the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. It was a manual. It wasn't even a book then.
Wow.
I got it. I went to Kinko's so I can get me a copy. The brother recognized me. Oh, you that dude from Public Enemy, man. For real. I said, yeah, bro, I got to get to this thing because I was the road manager, so I was responsible for everything. I gave it to him. The brother gave me a copy, but he made himself a copy also. So that's a violation, but cool, bro. Whoever you are.
He wanted some information.
He wanted some information.
He was hungry. He was thirsty.
Exactly. Okay, when I seen the brother again, dude gave me a box of them. And I gave James back his. So I read it. So now, the spokespeople for the group, me and Chuck, we did all the interviews. We sat down. We went to D.C. We were doing the interview that day, and it wasn't even my interview. Chuck's interview, he didn't want to do it. So I sat down with them. Now, mind you, I'm the Minister of Information.
Right.
I got 2 suitcases now.
Right.
I used to carry with 2 suitcases full of books.
Right, right.
And so I laid them all out on the table. So when I went into the interview, I was ready.
Right.
First question he asked is
just like this. How we just got to lay it out.
Exactly. Who controls the music industry? Well, what more am I supposed to say? You understand? I laid out the names, the people, the organizations they belong to. I laid it out. Now, mind you, this is not coming from Professor Griffith. I wasn't hating nobody that day.
And was it in that statement? Was it just like was it white people, Jewish people, white supremacy? Like was it more just like you just kind of just you weren't saying a hateful statement. You were just saying this is who controls it.
I laid out the names.
Right. Oh, so you specifically said people's names.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
People's names.
At that time, because this was what, 80, 89, 90?
Yeah, about 80, 89, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you just said people's names. And
I laid it out, and
right.
I showed them the books.
Right.
And I looked it up and showed it to them. This paragraph says this. These people control film industry, TV,
right.
music industry.
And as we know right now,
these are the players.
When we talk about media, there's 6 major corporations that control all of media.
Exactly.
This is beyond the music industry, and this is you were laying that construct down back then and naming names, calling them to the table. But even as we sit right here today, there's 6 major corporations that control everything that is delivered to you as we speak.
Exactly. So the 6 people can sit in this room and decide everything that we experience as far as entertainment. We watching the movies, reading the magazines. 6 people.
Right.
I laid that out. It wasn't a Jewish conversation.
Right.
It was about the music industry. The first 20 minutes of the conversation, we was laughing, joking, dapping each other up, talking.
Right.
His girlfriend walked in. We were talking about David Mills now, who dropped dead on a movie set.
Right.
His girlfriend walks in, and his girlfriend's white and Jewish. Well, I'm from Roseville, Long Island. We don't have no experience with white people like that. So I'm like...
Except for Howard Stern.
Exactly right. Exactly. So when she came and sat down, the complexion of the conversation changed. It became more... And I'm like... You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A couple of times he even pressed the pause button on the cassette.
Yeah, that privilege starts speaking. And
right. So now he had to change his tone because
right.
now the white Jewish girlfriend is sitting next to him.
Right.
And she's getting offended
right.
by me calling out the Cohens and the Moskowitz and the blacks and the...
Right, right.
And I'm like, okay, but still no hatred involved. I'm just laying the history out.
Yeah, we're just speaking facts.
When I finished the interview, he admitted and said to himself, you know something, this is the kind of stuff that can get you in a lot of trouble. And I'm like, now keep in mind now, I'm in my 20s.
Just like these conversations.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But fearless is. So, and you just saying what you're saying. You speaking facts.
Exactly.
There's no reason to be scared of anything when you're speaking the truth.
So I left that interview with what you just said, with that.
Right.
And he faxed it to the Village Voice in New York.
Right.
Front page blew up. He went out, and it's like Professor Griff, anti-Semitic, blah, 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 whatever. And when I first told Chuck, he said, so what? You told the truth. The truth is the truth.
Right.
Everybody's gung-ho. Yeah. Griff dapping me
just
up.
Just what we saying right here.
Hoisting me up on their shoulders.
Yeah.
A week or 2 later, I'm the boogeyman. I'm the bad man. I'm the this, that, and the other.
Griff, we got to separate ourselves.
Exactly. And I didn't understand it from someone. Now, this is the painful part. From someone I grew up with, man, since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Right. Right.
How do you do that?
Right.
How do you sit in a room and have one of your friends tell you who you fought with, who you ate with, broke bread with?
Right.
You know, how do you do it? Then a group of brothers that I came up with, the S1Ws, who, you know, we did everything together.
Fact.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Public Enemy thing was Chuck and Flav, who was actually signed. Then it was me and Terminator, the Public Enemy Live thing.
Right.
Constitutes Public Enemy. I brought the S1Ws.
Right, right.
So when you talk about the money situation, it was Chuck and Flav, of course, then me and Terminator, and then check this out. Right. Out of my little money, I cut it up and paid them.
Wow. So it wasn't about the bread at all.
It wasn't about the bread at all because Chuck said, 2 years in, we out. We said, cool, let's shake the industry up and get out.
Yeah, y'all wasn't looking for. And that's the thing what people got to understand, too, especially back then. Hip-hop wasn't about money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the only place where you actually could make money, because the hands that we speaking of, they had it on lock. It was slavery. Let's just keep it what it was. But live is where you could make money.
And that's right.
That's from the blues days all the way to today.
Exactly.
Where you seeing all these cats with all these diamonds and all that, that's because they getting 50,000 a night.
Exactly.
That's because, and back then it was 1,000 a night, maybe.
Thank you. And we're on a van driving ourselves.
Right, and it's 20 of y'all.
Right.
Splitting up $1,000 a night.
Exactly. So that's the real of it. And the whole idea of separating myself from these cats prematurely that we came up. Now let's keep the timeline in mind.
Yeah.
Into 86, 87, the album's out.
Right.
All right, so 89 would have been it. That's it. We done.
Done. Because y'all was only set out to do Public Enemy for 2 years.
That's it.
Right.
So I was on time and I was on point.
You was right there where it was
supposed to be. I called the players out. I shook the industry
divinity.
up.
The universe.
But now I'm the bad man.
Yeah.
Now I'm hated now because I told the truth.
Right.
How do you walk around with that in your chest, Nick? How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you walk around with now, but because I'm the bad guy in the group, I messed it up for everyone, so to speak. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
This is not what we discussed in my mom's basement, in Miss Boxley's basement in the garage.
Right.
At 510 South Franklin. This is not what we discussed. We was going to get in, shake it up, and we out. And so now I'm here where we didn't want to shake it up that bad. I'm like, come on, bruh.
Right.
Oh, so
and it was just a simple conversation.
It was a simple conversation like we're having right now, bro.
And then, you know what, and because this is one of the reasons why I feel honored to speak with you, but I feel like it's so prevalent and so on time, is because what we're dealing with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan being silenced on Facebook and other platforms.
Right. Neutralized.
Neutralized.
Right.
Which COINTELPRO is still active to this day. And COINTELPRO, for the young people that don't know, the counterintelligence program. And when you say counter, it's like because we have so much intelligence and information, they want to counter that by destroying us, by neutralizing us, by silencing us. So what we're speaking of today, because they attempted to silence Minister Farrakhan right now, which is COINTELPRO actions and activations, and they did the exact same thing to you. Why? And this is just a question that I have, and even coming from that aspect of if the true children of Israel, if we're speaking of the Jewish community, if we're speaking of the Abrahamic faiths that Islam comes from, that Judaism comes from, that Christianity comes from, all comes from Abraham. And we are all speaking of brotherhood and unity. Why is this division? Why is it such a problem? Why is there so much fear, specifically in the black community, in the Jewish community? And I'm kind of, this is a leading question which I want to get to, but why is it such a problem to speak the truth?
I think it's a problem it became a problem for us because of the propaganda machine. But it's more of a problem for them.
Right.
Because they've taken our birthright.
Right. They don't want us to be them. Not
deeper than that. They don't want us to be us. They don't want you wrapping your head. They don't want.
Wow.
Nah, they don't want. Now because you recognize.
Right.
And now they identified you. Oh man, Nick knows.
Right.
Who he is, and then now the flip side of that, you know who they are. Right.
So let's dive into it. Who are they? When we speak of, because this is where it truly is, and when we talk about those the 6 corporations, when we go as deep as the Rothschild, centralized banking, those the 13 families, the bloodlines that control everything, even outside of America. When we talk about the people who, if we were truly the children of Israel, and we're defining who the Jewish people are, because I feel like if we actually can understand that construct, then we can see that there is no hate involved. When we talk about the lies, the deceit, how the fake dollar controls all of this, then maybe we can get to the reason why they wanted to silence you, why they wanted to silence Minister Farrakhan, and they want to throw that we are having hate speech when it's never hate speech, when it's not. You can't be anti-Semitic when the Semitic, when we are the Semitic people, when we are the same people that who they want to be, That's our birthright.
That's our birthright.
So if that's truly our birthright, there's no hate involved.
It's not.
How did this message get so misconstrued?
When we came back to claim it.
Right.
When we woke up and we came back to claim. If you steal my bicycle when we were 6 years old and you riding around the hood with my bike,
right.
and now I'm 12 and I understand.
I want my bike back.
I want my bike back, man. Now you gonna kick up dust.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And I'm brolic enough to get my bike back.
I know some techniques now. I want my bike back.
Right.
I'm coming to get my bike. You gonna kick up dust. You might even have enough prowess and cockiness and wherewithal because you've been riding my bike around. You made connections now.
Right.
And convince other people that that's your bike.
Now you got a couple of bikes. You got a whole gang. You got a bike gang, and I'm over here walking.
Walking, right or wrong. So now when I go get my bike back, yeah, you done painted the bike. You done put some new wheels on it. It really don't even look like my bike.
It don't look like my bike no more. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So now I'm waking up, and I'm like, bro, I need my bike back.
Right.
For real.
Right.
How do you know that's your bike? Simply because there's documents here. There's
paperwork
here. There's receipts here. You understand what I'm saying? They're showing and proving that that's my bike, and I'm here to claim it, man.
Right.
You have to give it back. So when you start hearing songs like Michael Jackson, "Hike Me, Kite Me," and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Nah, you can't say that.
You can't say that.
When you hear
hate speech.
Puffy talking about getting paid or getting like the Hebrew.
Right, right.
You understand?
They want to mute the Hebrew.
They want to mute that.
Right, right.
You understand?
Even though we are the true Hebrews.
Exactly. So we can't even tell the truth now.
Right.
Not on record, not on television shows, not on YouTube.
Right. And what is and again because and you know I talk to my brother Risa Islam about this all the time about certain things to where it's just the lack of understanding.
That's what it is.
Because we're not saying anything hateful, and that's the thing when they want to put that on the minister Farrakhan was saying when even the term white devils or just devils in general.
Right.
But when he was really speaking about the people who devalue our communities and themselves, and that's really where the word devil comes from and how he's speaking it. But they want to take the sound bites and say this is anti-Semitic. And so how does that occur and why does that occur? Is that great? Is that spiritual warfare? Or is that just truly just us just silencing each other?
That's the psychological, covert, meaning hidden war on the higher infinite power healing our people.
Say that again. Hip-hop is
higher infinite power healing our
people.
The higher infinite power healing our people.
It's
well,
hip-hop.
if it's higher, then it's going to vibrate
on that
at
frequency.
The higher chakra.
Yeah.
And we're going to connect. Sometimes, you see your homeboy, you up in the club, the music loud, y'all can't talk. You like, you know.
Yeah. Or when it's about to go down, the energy, you know.
Exactly.
All right.
Right. So if it's infinite and it's the power that's in us because of who we are as a people, Elijah Muhammad says we're direct descendants from God himself. When that hit me, I'm like, I got relatives, but I got the big relative. You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
I'm a descendant maybe from this tribe, that tribe, and that tribe because I look a little Ethiopian or Eritrean or Somalian. But I'm saying I'm connected to the source.
Right.
But because I'm connected to the source, we have a higher infinite power.
Right.
But we can take this power now to heal our people.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And then delivering it that way, like the COINTELPRO, like those black organizations where they saw the Messiah coming up in the ranks, they says, no, we have to stop that.
J. Edgar Hoover said the most dangerous thing in America is the Negro, and when he bringing us together. So I want to touch on something too, where we have this problem within our community, and then obviously even beyond the term God and defining ourselves as gods. Why is that such a problem, and why is that so taboo in our community? Because I know you do this as well. You speak about it in your books.
Right.
And even going back to the 5 percenters, the gods and the earths back then, why is that such a problem? Even all the way to brothers like Kanye, where, even if his messaging can get misconstrued at times, but he was even professing, I'm a God, and our egos get to that point like, you ain't no God, I ain't no God. But ultimately, how do you define yourself as a God, and then why is that a problem?
I think the whole idea of having to define myself as a God is something that, I don't necessarily want to wear on a T-shirt or a bumper sticker. I'd rather just be what the Creator created me to be. Now, let me ask just a couple of things so we can kind of contextualize this thing. You have an assignment, right?
Yep.
A life assignment.
Absolutely.
The Creator deposited in you everything that you need to be you, right?
Right.
You ever get to that point where you're not feeling kind of like you?
Right.
So now you got to be introduced back to who? You. All right? And you got to be reminded of your assignment on this planet.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if the Creator, God, deposited aspects of the Creator inside of you.
Right.
The scripture says you're all gods, but you're a child of the Most High God. Sooner or later, you're going to grow up.
Right.
And be gods.
Yeah.
With a small G.
Yeah.
We ain't claiming the big G, just the small G.
Yeah, we're not saying we're the creator.
Exactly.
Right.
Everything divine in nature is within inside of you.
Right.
This is why when we talk about the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, we can look at what we adorn the universe with, and it's right here.
It's all in us.
It's all in us. That's why we can duplicate.
The cosmos is inside us.
Exactly. And only thing we're saying is we're gods having a human experience called Griff and Nick.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Now, what your assignment is?
Right.
Some people refer to that as different things. That's your life path.
Right.
That's what you've been assigned to do. But the thing is, have you accepted your assignment?
Right.
When you find people dealing with this whole psychology of self-hate, rejecting themselves and their divinity and who they are, see, when we hook up, there's certain things that you and I don't even really have to discuss because the divinity in me salutes the divinity in you, and we good.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
And see, that's divine.
Right.
But you see, we can go back and study Greeks, Romans, European history, and they've called even some of the days of the weekend the months.
Right.
They call those people gods.
Right.
You understand? But we don't have no problem with that.
Right.
But the people that gave birth to civilization, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yet we can't consider ourselves gods. I think there's a misnomer there, man, and it's like it's almost like
they don't want us to know the truth.
Back to that again. They don't want us to know who we are.
But even I want to go back to our community because forget they for a second.
Okay.
Why can't we accept that we are
Because
gods?
we've been brought down to the point where we look at one another as just mere niggas.
Right.
Plain and serious. But Wesley Muhammad said it best. The nigga got to die. I'm just going to say it straight. The nigga got to die. Wesley Muhammad put it out.
Yeah.
Because if the nigga die, and then now we can have this rebirth of the God.
Now let me play devil's advocate for a second.
And please do. But we have to define what devil is. It's the adversary of God.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's attributes to the devil. But go ahead.
Yeah, so let me go to the opposing
with the little
side.
with the little d.
With the little d.
All right. Go ahead.
So is that almost the same concept as eugenics, or even when we tap into W.E.B. Du Bois's aspect, because he was someone that was saying the black man has to rise above, or I don't know if it's the same term as like we got the nigga got to die, but is it that concept of saying, yo, I want a purer black man, or the black man has to understand that he is a god and the nigga has to die.
Well,
Isn't that same concept?
Kind of like the same thing, but let's clean it up just a little so the vast majority of our people can understand it. The Christians say what? You have to be born again.
Right.
So what happened the first time? Because God don't make mistakes. And all of them people running around in the Bible that never existed, never had Bibles. I don't think people
say that again. Say that again. Because really what the Bible truly is just God's experience or man's interpretation of his experience with his God. And stories and allegories.
And those allegories and stories and things were stolen from who we are as a people.
As a people.
Right. That's our history book,
right,
so to speak.
Right.
Someone else kidnapped us, knocked us upside the head, put us to sleep, stole our birthright, and claiming that that's them.
Right. So the story of which you know as Moses is really Mesis and an Egyptian tale. The story of Noah is really the poem of the tale of Gilgamesh and all of these things.
Right.
These all come from the motherland. But going back to what you were saying in that sense of who we are and who
right.
we define.
So
yeah.
W.E.B. Du Bois came forth and said, the black man and woman in America is dealing with this double and dual consciousness.
Yes.
In a modern context, that's code switching. But right now, what is this dual consciousness that we're dealing with? Causing cognitive dissonance inside the spirit of the black man and woman. How do we have to wrestle with being Nick during the day and all the jobs and the opportunities that you have and the resources that you connected to, but then you got to go be dad now.
Right.
You got to go deal with Mariah. You
Right.
Yeah. Okay? Because they don't know nothing about that. Okay, that's my daddy, but cool, but now.
Facts.
So the dual consciousness. What happens now when you operate in a world that's diametrically opposed to who and what you are as far as your existence is concerned? How do you operate in a world like that and then be you?
Right.
How do I be Professor Griff and still operate in the music in music industry by telling the truth about the music industry? That's kind of difficult, man. Yeah. I can't go home and take off and put on Professor Griff to go on stage. No, bro, what you see is what you get, man.
Right, facts.
I'm not Professor Griff on stage and then I go take it off or put on a costume.
But there's still a dichotomy, or there's still a duality in who you have to be.
That was the dual consciousness the double consciousness that W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about.
And that even goes back to maybe what was going on within Public Enemy.
Exactly.
You was always speaking your truth, but there's still, we got to know how to play. This is a game, and you're in it. So at some point, you got to. There's a line that's going to be drawn on that playground.
But you talking about the road manager for the group. I
Right.
dealt with these people firsthand. The Cohens and the Moskowitz and the